It's the very beginning of the NCFA golf tournament here. It's Monday. What day is it, Marty Nolan?
It is August 27th, 2012.
And you heard Marty Nolan's here with me. We're in a golf cart. We're heading out to go see how the field's doing on this rainy day. Marty, you haven't been yet on Fully Threaded Radio. You're the presumptive incoming president of the NCFA. How's it look for the day?
Eric, I'm not the presumptive incoming president. I'm a board member with the NCFA, and we had a good turnout. Everybody's out golfing in the rain. Wish we could have had a better day, but with golf, you take what you get, and everybody looks to be smiling, and they're out on the course right now, and we're going to track them down.
Well, we're going to head out to the tees and actually see if that's true, and we'll check in. Peter, metric Fasteners, hole one. How'd it go?
Birdie.
Birdie.
It's going well considering the weather. It's perfect Dutch weather here in America.
We'll talk to you after the turn.
Okay, see you at the bar.
Kevin Sands, Stelfast, how you shooting today?
Oh, we're having a good time out here, playing with the guys from Fastener Tool, enjoying ourselves and having a great time.
You're not dragging a Stelfast monkey along on your bag today, are you?
No monkeys. It'll be a surprise in Vegas. The new color will be out then.
All right, so I'm not getting any hints out here, huh?
Nah.
Well, Kevin, good luck on the rest of the course, and we'll see you at the turn.
All right, thanks, guys. Take care.
Mike Day with Ernest. What hole you guys on? How you playing so far today?
Well, we're powering our way through this wetness, but it was good to see a bunch of people that I haven't seen in a while. Haven't been to one of these in a little while. So, yeah, we're out and hammering through the wetness and having a good time. So,
shooting all right?
Yeah, we're even par right now, and kind of everybody's anteing up here and helping us out. So it's not one person. It's true team effort, ham and egging our way around here. So.
Well, that sounds good. Hope you guys stay consistent. We'll see you around the turnaround.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Mike Day, Ernest. We're speaking with Ariana now. She's the purveyor of the beverage cart here at the NCFA golf tournament. How is the consumption today?
So far, it's pretty good.
Is this pretty much on par for your typical golf outing?
I'd say so, yeah.
Not just a little ahead?
I think a little ahead.
Well, thank you for clearing that up. It's still early.
It's still early.
Well, good luck. Drive safely out there.
Thank you.
Mark Dively, Fastener Tool. We're here on the, what is this, the third? How'd you shoot?
This was not one of our better holes today. We gave it our best effort. Unfortunately, this is a challenging course, and water comes into play. And the only good thing is there's a lot of golf balls to be found to make up for some of the bad ones. But we're having a great time. It's a wonderful event. Weather looks like it's going to hold up for us, and we're going to raise some money for some scholarship foundation, which is great. It gets all our industry people together, and it's pretty exciting. It's a good day.
It is a great course, and it's a great cause. It's great to see the rain letting up a little bit. Looks like those greens are still playing a little fast, though.
Really fast, and you just got to know the course. Fortunately, I live here, so I'm also a Solon resident, and I get to give these guys a few tips here and there, but the way I play, typically it's something they may or may not want to take my advice. Just give it a best, just go for the hole, and we're keeping our fingers crossed. Fortunately, we have string. So this is the one event that you could use string, so we're in string management mode right now.
Well, the NCFA is lucky to have a guy like you who's got a little pull out here, and, well, good luck on the rest of the course.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thanks for being out here, too.
Thank you, Mark. Sue Wallace, you are a board member for the NCFA. You're also with National Threaded Fasteners, and you're here with Dave Audia, and you're here running the putting contest. How's it going out here on this drippy day?
It's very wet.
Damp, one might say.
It's damp.
Yes, well, the moisture is evident everywhere. And what other observations do you have? How are they hitting today?
From what I see off of the first hole, some people are going left, some are going right, and few are going in the middle.
That's an astute observation. The greens look to be pretty fast today despite the wet weather, and I guess you're out here just observing.
I am observing, and we're trying to sell some of these putting contest tickets so that we can see if somebody ends up winning the big prize.
You know, the thing is about this whole game is that it's very Fastener related. People don't understand they should get out here and participate if they haven't before, don't you think?
Yes, I've always participated in the past. Now I'm participating with the North Coast Fastener Association, trying to work it all out.
Sue Wallace, that's just the kind of Fastener gal you are.
Yes, I am.
John Riddell, you're carrying Team Solution Industries out here on hole 4. How's it going for you today?
It's a little tough here today. The winds are a little shifty, the rain's coming down, and, carrying these 3 on my back becomes kind of a chore, but, it's something I'm up to the task to do.
Well, these greens are playing pretty fast, and I saw you nearly hit that Stealthfast Monkey on the last hole. What'd you think of that?
Oh, I wanted to drill that Stealthfast Monkey right into the ground and step on him.
Good job. We'll be following you. We'll be watching. Good luck on the rest of the course.
Thank you.
It's time for Fully Threaded Radio.
It is Fully Threaded Radio, voice of the FCH Sourcing Network. This is on-demand, in-the-know, and only slightly out-of-control Fastener Talk Radio, the way you've always dreamed it could be, folks, and we're glad you've clicked in. I'm Eric Dudas, and the man with the unmistakable deep Southern accent is the co-host of Fully Threaded. He's the amazing Mr. Brian Musker. You doing all right, Bri?
I'm doing really well, and I don't think I'm out of control in the slightest.
Depends who you ask.
Yeah, it is true.
With the way that you've been processing Fastener uploads lately, it's a good thing, too, because, man, they've been pouring in.
Oh, yes, that is true. Yeah, I could say I'm sort of getting sick of them, but I can't say that because that's what we have to do. It's our job.
And speaking of pouring, we played a few clips from the recent North Coast Fastener Association golf outing at the top of the show. And as you could hear, the gods of Fastener golf were not smiling on us that day, Bri. The rain just would not let up.
Well, I guess it was all right if you were in a little golf buggy with a top on it.
Well, we did have tops, but I'm telling you, man, it was coming sideways. The wind was blowing sometimes, and I think everybody made the best of it. We'll talk about that a little bit more in the show. But, the other thing is, fortunately, there was beer. So, that kind of helped keep things flowing as well.
Oh, thank God for that. Oh, that would be terrible if it was a cold day and you didn't have any beer to drink.
Well, RL English took care of that. Marty Nolan was the beverage sponsor for this event, and I think a few people took advantage of that fact.
You mean when they were waiting for the rain to stop?
Yeah, and there was a lot of waiting, too. But, people were playing out in it. And, again, we'll cover that a little bit more and bring you the results that we received from the NCFA. And we have a lot more to bring you in the interest of beer in the fastener industry today, folks. So what do you say we tap this keg, Bri?
Why, I would say so. As soon as possible, actually.
This is episode 51 of Fully Threaded Radio, and we're publishing on September 13th, 2012. This is a jam-packed show we have for you today, everybody, and we thank every one of you for tuning in. Our feature segment is a conversation with the fastener industry's answer to the Marlboro Man, the one and only Mr. John Wachman of Arizona-based Desert Distribution. John wrote a column that appears in the current issue of Fastener Technology International magazine, in which he discusses his recent participation in the Fastener Training Institute's Certified Fastener Specialist Training Program. In the process, he explains a few things about the industry that I'm sure you're going to find interesting, including changes in the industry that have made training a more critical issue than ever before. And also, he discloses the names of the members of what he terms the Fastener Rat Pack. Yes, we touched on quite a few issues with John before he moseyed off into the sunset, and you're sure to enjoy this conversation, folks. Also, there are a couple of big headlines to report, including the new FDI index that just came out. And on the Fastener News Report, Mike McNulty will talk with BB&T capital markets analyst Holden Lewis about that. Holden reports from the International Manufacturing Technology Show in Chicago on this episode. And Mike also has details on a surprising new partnership between two major industry players that was recently announced. And on another breaking news front, we've been teasing this one for a while, folks. In just a few minutes, we're going to hear an announcement by Larry Kelly of Buckeye Fasteners that will bring a smile to the face of anyone who will be out in Vegas next month for the big show. I'll give you one hint about that one right now. Domestically brewed.
Right, or just domestic, okay? If you're searching for fasteners.
Or as our president might say, 3 words, made in the USA.
It sounds like a Biden one.
You must not have heard the latest headlines, but both of these guys have a little bit of trouble counting, it seems.
Oh, yeah, I know. We know that. That's why we're at trillions of debt.
The title sponsors on this episode of Fully Threaded Radio are Stellfast. For service you deserve and people you trust, it's Stellfast. And Beacon Fasteners and Components. Beacon Fasteners. Nice threads.
And nice ads.
Very nice ads.
Right.
I'm expecting a new one from them pretty soon, too.
Oh, cool. Okay.
We look forward to hearing from you, folks. Please let us know how we're doing, what you think of the show, suggestions, comments, and so forth. And you can do that at our email address, which is ftr@fullythreaded.com. We're also out there on Twitter under the handle Fully Threaded. We talk to several of you on an ongoing basis, and I guess we're tolerating that okay. I'd like to see more of you jump in because, it is a lot of the same old faces out there these days. But Twitter is a great way, and we'll talk about this a little bit more in the show, but it's a great way to keep up on some of the headlines that are flying around out there, as is Facebook. And you can see some of the links that we post in support of the stories that we mention on the Facebook page for Fully Threaded Radio. You can also communicate with us that way.
Right. And last episode, we pleaded for a few people to like us who went over the 100 mark because we didn't know what really happened. Well, the answer is nothing happens except you get an email from Facebook telling you that you've passed the 100 mark, okay?
Yeah, and then you get a coupon for some advertising.
Right, and a coupon. Yeah, I forgot the coupon.
$50 off.
Right. Okay. So we know that. Now, we still want you to keep going to the Facebook page, reading it, and liking us if you like it, okay? But there's no longer a great push to get gazillions of likes, right?
I guess so. But I don't know. You've been reading the headlines. I mean, Zuckerberg needs the money. Maybe we should just send that in.
Right. Yeah, he was he had a lot of interesting things to say yesterday, actually, including the fact that he thinks that their little mess with mobile devices is probably the biggest strategic mistake they've made.
You think?
Well, the share price thing is not necessarily Zuckerberg. I mean, that will be all the Wall Street people who are thinking they could, turn this into a miracle. But anyway, you and I discussed this many times. They couldn't possibly support that share price. They weren't earning enough money.
Well, I can't tell you what the proper share price would be or what valuation it would be, but all I could say is that they got to get into mobile if they're going to have a prayer. Yeah, we'll wait and see. I mean, the last chapter in this book has not been written.
No. Oh, that's true. And it's going to be written, Facebook have said, they've avowed they've got to get back into actually mobile devices, okay, which is going to be an interesting thing because they are currently pretty closely in bed with Apple, and but they're, the world's a big place, and there's plenty of room for the Google people and Facebook people, even though they are fighting for, a part of the world.
Well, we're going to finish off the show today with a little bit of background from you on the new iPhone announcement. And mobile is just where it's going to be, folks. I mean, there's just no alternative. And one of the problems that Facebook's having is that the advertising model that they thought that they were going after just is not compatible with mobile the way they currently see it. And this is a big conundrum for them. So, and we'll touch on all of that.
Right. I mean, that is the essential problem that doesn't fit well into the mobile phone because they're sort of a bit small and they're rather sort of annoying.
Speaking of mobile devices, folks, we haven't mentioned this in a while, but we hope that you'll use your mobile device, be it an iPhone, a BlackBerry, or an Android, to listen to Fully Threaded. Take it with you. Take it on the road. Take it if you travel by air. It's a great thing to listen to on the plane. And you can do that with any one of those types of devices. You can go to the Fully Threaded webpage, and we have links and instructions on how you can get Fully Threaded onto your mobile device.
Right, and there are a number of ways now actually with each of the platforms. We know that BlackBerry's a couple of different ways. Some of them are not entirely easy to understand. And now in the world of the iPhones, Apple has released a whole podcast app, okay, without any fanfare at all. It just happened to turn up. It actually handles podcasts sort of better than the way you used to deal with them. So you can download that. It's a little bit more modern. It allows you to stop and start and, signify you've actually listened to one if you listen to it on your computer and if iPhone thinks you haven't read it. It's worth checking out.
What's the name of the app, Brian?
Podcast. That's what they called it. This is Apple after all, okay?
Right. The titans of intuitiveness.
Right. Yeah, just called podcasts.
Well, no matter how you do it, folks, we appreciate you listening to Fully Threaded Radio. We appreciate you sharing the show with your friends, and we hope more and more of you will be putting it on your mobile devices, but however you listen to it, we sure do thank you. I mentioned that we like to receive email, and we don't really do the Fully Threaded mailbag too often. We have a few people who email us on a regular basis, and it's a lot of fun, but I got one from somebody we hadn't heard from before, and you might get a kick out of this one. This is from, I guess, episode 49. That was when we had Jay Queenan on.
Yeah.
The subject was, your MP3 feed has been hijacked. So you can imagine this caught my attention.
Wow, yeah.
Email said, I just logged on to listen to your conversation with Jay Queenan. All I'm able to download from your site is some right-wing political show. I'm not sure where the mix-up is, but I thought you'd like to know.
And we did like to know that too. We like these alerts, okay?
Needless to say, I investigated that one very thoroughly.
All right.
So please let us know what you're thinking, folks. We enjoy each and every one of these emails, and fortunately, they're coming with a greater frequency. Hey, we're the people who bring you FastenersClearinghouse.com. It's the FCH sourcing network. We got our fingers in a bunch of pies these days, but our main thing is FastenersClearinghouse.com. It's a giant network. You're welcome to use it anytime you're looking for a hard-to-find fastener item, or maybe just a new supplier for what you've already been buying, or you just need to do a fill-in. A lot of times that's the case. On the other side of the coin, if you're looking for a place to put your inventory to generate new business, if you're looking for a way to generate new customers and you just want to be showing yourself out there on the web in a new way, in a way that is really seeming to attract different kinds of customers for different kinds of users, then go to FastenersClearinghouse.com. Give us a call. Let us help you to fashion a membership that really meets your needs. And we're not standing still. We've got some movement happening in the direction of mobile, as we were talking previously, Brian. I think it was the last episode you were telling everybody, or inviting everybody, to please get out there on their iPhones and mobile devices and look at FCH that way and send you some feedback. What did you get after that?
Well, actually, we're in the very early stages of developing and testing, but I got a couple of really interesting sets of feedback. One from Andy Pells.
Of course.
It was very good because Andy is a very proud user of his Android devices, though he secretly wants to get an iPhone. And Dan Zender from Trinity Logistics, who I had sent a note asking for some comments on. They both were looking at, a version we have of Fasteners Clearinghouse that's set up for iPhones. Apparently, I needed a little bit of work on the Android devices yet, but it is an interface that allows someone to really manage the inquiries that they receive in a way that's workable through FCH, and search and look up some of the standards and a few other things there. It benefits from being logged in, and we would like to get more comments. We realize this is really early days, but 10 years ago people thought that no one would ever use a computer to search for a fastener, okay? So you have to keep ahead of things, and this is
5 years ago.
Yeah, actually, some people we talk to think it's still there, right? Why would you use a computer? Anyway, so this is FCH on the move a bit. We've got a couple of things. That's one, and the other one is, getting ready to start texts out of FCH back to people's phones, right?
Or letting the cat out of the bag, Brian.
A little bit. I'm not quite ready for that yet, and we're going to be looking for some test members to follow in through with that. But we think it's a viable way of alerting people, and we'll be making it so that they will be able to, from the text, go straight to the mobile interface and deal with these queries, okay?
Well, we've got a lot to get excited about, and we'll be talking a little bit more about this in a few other programs at the Vegas show and in future episodes of Fully Threaded Radio.
Yep.
And who knows, maybe we'll even blast some of this out on Twitter. Gee, think that might be smart, Bri?
Well, it could be. I'm having a little trouble with Twitter, as J.R. Pryle would know, because he's stunned silence. But my Twitter account says I haven't received a single mention or communication for 50-something days. Okay?
Yeah, I don't know what's up with that, because I know for a fact that you get mentioned in conversations on a pretty regular basis. So you'll have to look into that. But we talk about Twitter all the time. And that's because it's such a great way to keep up on what's happening in just about any topic area, including fasteners. And I saw one fly by the other day from Cascade Nut and Bolt mentioning a video featuring Carmen Vertullo. And this is the first in a series that they're planning to produce. We'll put a link to this on the FTR Facebook page. And so this is the first video in this series, and this one's on head markings, and it's definitely worth a look.
Actually, it's really good, and Carmen does a really good job of just explaining to the layman the differences between an ordinary old, what we would call an ordinary old bolt, A307, in the grade 5s and grade 8s that we have a lot of on FCH. And it's a really good description of, why there are differences, what the different ASME standards are required for them, why some have got little very shiny under the heads and some aren't. So it's a good video, okay? And Carmen knows this stuff pretty well.
Oh, yeah. He's definitely a guy to pay attention to when he opens his mouth on the subject of fasteners. And we'll be talking to John Wachman later in the show, and Carmen comes up. So watch Twitter for the next videos, folks. And Cascade Nut and Bolt is one of these companies that seems to be coming on strong. Lately, they've been tweeting. We'll see if they can continue. Some companies come and they tweet for a while, and then they seem to go away, and others are in it for the long haul. And Cascade Nut and Bolt is doing a good job of it right now, so we'll be watching.
and I'll be too if I can get my Twitter account on my phone fixed. I am sick of dicking with it, okay, but I'll continue.
Oh, it's amazing. You do all this high-level programming, and these little apps give you fits. But I have faith in you, Bri. You're going to be out there on Twitter in no time.
Yep, thank you.
Hey, got an email here from our friend Nancy Rich. She, of course, is the executive director of the Southeastern Fastener Association, as well as the MWFA. CFA has announced the dates for their upcoming spring conference. That's the 2013 spring conference, and it's a tabletop show also this year. It's going to be held April 16th, 17th, and 18th, and that's at the Evergreen Marriott Conference Resort in Stone Mountain, Georgia. Sounds like a really nice venue. And Tony Nelson, the president of CFA, he and I had a conversation the other day, and he was feeling very, very excited with himself, very pleased with himself, I would say, because they've actually gone 2 years in advance. They've also made an announcement of the 2014 location, and that's going to be happening in Charlotte, North Carolina, and also in April. And you can check out the CFA website for details on all that, but their site is www.thecifa.com.
Yeah, you went to the this year's conference, didn't you, actually?
I had a great time down there.
Yeah.
And they did a fantastic job. Of course, that was Nancy Rich's first meeting as the executive director, and Joan Bayless was handing the baton off to Tony Nelson, and it was a fantastic conference. We had a great time. And also, folks, let's not forget it was my introduction to glow golf.
How could any of us forget that?
Yeah.
Go back and find that in our episode lineup, and you'll see why Eric was so excited about glow golf.
It was amazing. I'd be surprised if it doesn't become a staple in the fastener industry after that, because then the MWFA did it as well in June.
Right. Probably after hearing all the glowing accounts that you gave it.
That was a good one. Very good, Bri.
Thanks. Right.
And with more golfing results, the North Coast Fastener Association golf outing that happened on August 27th. Of course, we played some little snippets at the top of the show. I got an email here from Mike Dellis of Fastener Tool and Supply. He's the vice president of the NCFA, and he was, I guess, the coordinator for the golf outing. He wrote a summary of the event, and it starts out, the heavy rains on August 27th did not deter golfers from setting a record turnout for the 2012 annual NCFA Screw Open golf outing. Celebrating the NCFA's 30th anniversary, 68 golfers took their talents to the challenging track of Signature of Solon Country Club.
Wow, that's a lot for a sort of a ratty day.
It was a pretty good turnout. I mean, I tweeted the array of golf carts before everybody turned into kind of a pack of drowned rats. You know, but yeah, it was a fleet of golf carts, and it was a very nice course. The only thing that was a pity was the rain. And the thing is, as I understand it, Cleveland and the area was having just this amazing drought all season. I mean, they were praying for rain, and wouldn't you know it?
Yeah, well, yeah, and in Chicago too. The one day you don't need it.
Right. But despite that, a good time was had by most people, and we already mentioned that RL English supplied the beer for the day. First place team was American Ring and Tool Company. They were followed up by the Solon Manufacturing Team, and in third was National Plating. And it sounded like they all had some pretty impressive scores, well under par. But I wonder, it was all best shot, scramble, and of course they were selling mulligans and string, and God knows what else. So I'm sure they were all good golfers. And hey, actually, what am I saying? Because I give them all credit just for making it through the whole round if they did. I know a lot of teams did not make it. They bagged out after lunch. So hats off to the winning teams.
Right.
I had the opportunity to follow Team Solution Industries for a little while. Of course, Don Shan, John Riddell, and Andrew Nagy from Solution Industries, as well as Jackie Ventura. She was on that team. And, man, that was a lot of fun. As it turned out, I was there to witness Andy win the long drive on hole 9. I don't know what the prize was for that, but oh my God, this thing was just a towering drive and went all the way down the fairway, and that was very impressive.
And straight. That's the other important part.
Yeah, I won't tell anybody that was pretty much the only long straight drive of the game that day for him. If you had to make one.
Right, that's the good one then.
Good thing it was on a game hole.
Right.
So all in all, despite the dampness, it was a success. I think they raised some money for the cause, and people had a good time.
Oh, that's good. Okay.
Hey, one NCFA guy who I did not see at the golf outing is Larry Kelly of Buckeye Fasteners and the Ohio Nut and Bolt Company. They operate out of Brook Park, Ohio. In fact, I called him yesterday, and I had a hard time reaching him because he was stuck in the warehouse all day doing key grip duty. He said, "Hey, Larry, you guys shooting an epic fastener thriller over there at Ohio Nutter? What's going on?"
That's correct, Eric. We're putting together a little image video for our sister company, Ohio Nut and Bolt, who you may or may not know is one of the oldest fastener manufacturers in the country. They've been in business since 1905, manufacturing solutions for the fastener world.
Wow, that's a great history.
Yeah, it really is. Well, appreciate you coming on Fully Threaded to discuss that with us. We've been wanting to have you on, and of course, you've got some big news that we're going to talk about in a moment or two, and I think a lot of Fully Threaded listeners have been on the edge of the seat, but please expand on that a little bit. What's this movie all about?
Well, basically, we're putting together this image video, which we're going to actually launch at the upcoming Fastener Show in Vegas. It just kind of gives a history of Ohio Nut and Bolt, where they came from, where they are today. Just talking about the employee owners, since we are an employee-owned company. We don't do a whole lot of marketing like this, but we thought this would be a good idea. There's sometimes confusion between who Buckeye and who Ohio is, so we definitely want to put out a video out there and let everyone know exactly who Ohio is and what they do.
I had an opportunity to tour your plant back in May at the NCFA Distributor Social, at least on that day, and I was with Marty Nolan, and it's an impressive manufacturing facility. So exactly what is the difference between Ohio Nut and Buckeye?
Oh, by the way, let me go back. You did a fantastic job on the panel discussion, I might add. You were a very gracious host, and you asked some very good questions, and I thought the audience was very pleased with the panel's responses on a lot of those questions. So,
I appreciate that.
Yeah. Ohio Nut and Bolt is the manufacturer. They primarily manufacture weld fasteners, leg levelers, and fasteners for the metalworking industries. Buckeye Fasteners, which was started in the 70s, is the distribution arm for Ohio Nut and Bolt. So Ohio makes it, we package it, we stock it, we ship it all over the world.
Got it. Now, how long have you been with the company?
28 years.
Wow, that's a pretty good tenure. Man, a lot of long-timers out there in this industry, aren't there?
Wow.
That's correct. We just had a gentleman retire after 47 years. We have another lady who received a 45-year award last year. Our average age in the company is somewhere around 26 and a half years or something like that. It's up there.
Wow. Now, with this video, how are you going to be displaying it at the Vegas show?
We have a booth that we purchased that has monitors in there, and it'll just be on a continuous loop, and it'll run the whole time. The sound you won't be able to hear the sound very well because of the crowd noise, but you'll definitely get some good images of what Ohio does, some of the employee owners that are working there, just a basic overview of their manufacturing capabilities.
Now, how did you get roped into doing key grip duty?
Well, it was the person doing the video is kind of a friend of someone of the company, and I know my way around the warehouse and the manufacturing plant pretty good, so I was able to carry some of the lighting for them and show them all the shortcuts. So that's kind of how I got roped into it.
You're going to become known as the James Cameron of the fastener industry pretty soon at this rate, Larry.
Yep, there you go.
Yeah, or Cecil B. DeMille.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing your handiwork there, and I presume you're going to have a web version of this after the premiere at the Vegas show.
Absolutely. We'll put it on the website. We'll throw it out on YouTube. We'll put it out wherever we can, just as promotion for the company.
Absolutely. Well, how's business out your ways these days? What are you seeing?
Well, business is pretty good. We're having a good year. We do follow the Fastener Distributor Index, and we do seem to be right in line with, what's going on there. We do find the Fastener Index to be an excellent gauge for a company like ours. Being on the small side and also being somewhat on the niche side, it's hard for us to get a gauge on what other people are doing out there. And this certainly, gives us that perspective. And it's a great indicator of what everyone else is doing, especially when some of the companies that are being followed are also customers are. So as they go, we go, and as the market goes, we go, and it's pretty much in line with the FDI.
Huh. Well, thanks for bringing that up. We've been kind of shooting for that, just that sort of a reaction, I would say.
Wow, that's sort of interesting, actually. I mean, because we often, discuss the relevance of the FDI to, say, the bigger companies like the distributors, because they should be, they're a sort of a softening effect on it. But it's interesting to know that you think it really mirrors what you see.
Pretty much. There was only 1 month that there was a difference, and that was July. We actually had a very good July where the FDI had indicated it was down a little bit. But
yeah, that's when we tanked.
Yeah.
Right. But every other month has been following pretty much right in line with that. So when I get this, it's kind of a good thing to see that we're, doing what everyone else is doing out there.
That's interesting. In a different way, the FDI mirrors a different measurement which we make every single day, which is really the activity of people, using our site, particularly inquiring, not necessarily just using it, but actually doing real business on it. And that follows quite closely the index. In other words, the July, we saw a distinct decrease in, the real working activity of the site. So, we knew something was coming. Okay.
I think Holden Lewis also pointed out that there was a mirroring effect that he's seeing with the PMI averaged over time, I think is what he says. He's actually going to be up next with Mike McNulty to expand on this a little bit, but I think it's adding some validation to what we're doing, and we didn't know how it was going to play out. And let's face it, it's still early, but hey, Larry, I do appreciate you bringing that up, and I guess with that as your answer, that business is at least stable or slightly improving. So, man, we'll take all of that we can get, right?
Absolutely.
Well, let's shift gears here for a minute because we wanted to talk to you about a big piece of news, and we've been teasing this on Fully Threaded for a little while. Of course, we're huge supporters of Frosty Malted beverages in the fastener industry, and you've got a big piece of news on this one. You want to let this bombshell out of the bag?
Well, yeah, there's been speculation for some time now that there may be an appearance of Old Rusty Bolt ale at the upcoming Fastener show. And it took a while, but we finally did reach a licensing agreement with the traveling salesman. And I am very proud to announce that Buckeye Fasteners will be sponsoring Old Rusty Bolt at the upcoming Fastener show.
Yeah!
Wow.
That's booth number 1043. We'll have that for everyone to give a taste.
Can we reserve like advanced glasses of it, for people who are chained to the booth?
Absolutely. I'll put a few on reserve for you.
Thank you very much.
Now, this seems like a fantastic strategy in light of the movie, too. You're going to have a real reason to have people kind of camped out at your booth.
All we'll need is someone to show up with some popcorn. We'll be all set.
You got the seating, though, have you?
Well, we'll see what we can do about that.
Hey, right.
Now, it was only a matter of time, and I was waiting for somebody to do this, but I'm just glad that it was you guys, and you being right there in the heart of the industry, right there in traveling salesman country, it makes so much sense. Let me ask you, did he drive a hard bargain?
Oh, absolutely. Problem is, one taste of Old Rusty Bolt and you're hooked, and you'll do anything. You'll do anything to get that sponsorship. So it took a while, but we did come to the agreement.
Yeah, from what I've heard, it's actually kind of a complicated situation trying to get a keg into a booth out there on the trade show floor. I'm happy to say that I'm aware now of 3 booths at the NIFS show. We'll be announcing the 3, and yours is included, that are going to have beer in the booths this year. But man, you got to go through quite a few hoops to get that going, don't you?
Yeah, it was painstaking, but it's going to be well worth it, as you'll see when you stop by and have the taste.
I heard you have a special tapper also in store for us.
We do, and special glasses too. So.
Wow.
Well, this is just fantastic news. Recently, we had Don Shan of Solution Industries on the show, and he mentioned that he's going to have some special beer glasses as well. I think those are actual glass glasses, and I don't know, did you guys coordinate any of this? It just seems too beautiful.
We did not. He might have caught wind that something was going down, and I believe that they're promoting some kind of a booth crawl, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, those guys are always into some kind of a crawl. You mean, you
right.
don't know. Well, this is outstanding news, and I think you're going to have a huge smash hit there. I hope the supplies hold out because I think you're really going to stimulate some interest with this piece of news, Larry.
I hope they hold out too. I don't want to disappoint the audience.
And once again, that's booth number
1043.
1043 at this year's NIFS show. Stop by, grab an Old Rusty on Buckeye Fasteners.
Yeah.
Residuals go to the Traveling Salesman Kids College Fund. Guess the jury's still out on that one.
I guess.
Well, Larry, we sure do appreciate you joining us here on Fully Threaded to let this big news out of the bag, and also we can't wait to see your movie.
I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you guys.
Thanks, mate.
Larry Kelly, Buckeye Fasteners.
When people think Fastener Talk Radio, they think, but then they think of Fully Threaded Radio. Talk radio for the fastener industry.
When top quality and outstanding service are at the top of your list in fastener suppliers, turn to Stellfast. Since 1976, Stellfast has grown to become an industry-leading importer and manufacturer of the highest quality industrial fasteners, specialty items, and automotive parts. Our array of facilities across North America and in Asia, along with full quality control labs and ISO 9001-2008 certifications, ensure the highest quality parts, and at Stellfast, they're delivered with undisputed service excellence. We're family run and dedicated to your success. Our customers have come to depend on the expertise of our staff and the quality of our products. We also offer a wide range of secondary services to meet some of the toughest requirements you might have. Contact Stellfast today through our website at www.stellfast.com and put us to work for you. Stellfast. Service you deserve, people you trust.
It's a screwy world out there, what with outsourcing, celebrity apprentices, crop circles, Biebers, Gagas, those shorts that are almost pants, and mimes. But when you think about it, saying the world is screwy is just unfair to screws, which ironically are what hold the whole world together. And the finest screws out there are supplied by Beacon Fasteners and Components. We can say that because our products are laboratory tested. Twice. Beacon Fasteners and Components also has the largest inventory in the industry, including thread forming, thread cutting, high-low tapping, SEMS, sheet metal, and our new machine screws. And they're all available RoHS compliant. Give Beacon a call today and one of our knowledgeable sales staff will guide you through the ordering process. Then we'll track your shipment, which is one less screwy little detail for you to worry about. Visit us at beaconfasteners.com. It's a screwy world, but Beacon is on top of it.
Have you ever thought about what it's like to be a transformational leader? Hi, this is Sandy Cardillo, President of Conrad Associates. I'd like to welcome you to our conversation on women in leadership and evolving perspective during the Women in Fasteners Industry Gathering at the National Industrial Fastener and Supply Expo on Wednesday, October 10th from 2 to 4 p.m. in Las Vegas, Nevada. We will explore how women's approach to leadership has evolved into the present and thoughts on an emerging perspective for the 21st century work environment. Please join us for an interesting conversation and a great networking opportunity. For details, please visit www.fastenerwomen.com. I hope to see you there.
Hi, this is Rich Pease with RT Precision Products in Green Bay, Wisconsin. You're listening to Fully Threaded Radio. Go Packers!
Brian and Eric, inexplicably thirstier than usual right now. Back with you.
I think it's not inexplicable at all.
It's going to be great to go over to the Buckeye Fasteners booth over there at the Vegas show. I can't wait to see what he comes up with for this tapper. What a great idea.
Right, yeah.
Say, as though we haven't been promoting Twitter enough on this episode already, I saw one fly by back a couple days ago. It was from ITR Economic Trends. These are the guys who the NFDA uses as their economic advisors. Brian and Alan Bewley. A lot of people have heard from them before. And so there were a lot of really negative, sour headlines coming out around the beginning of September. And this tweet says, headlines got it wrong. Manufacturing up through July and probably August. S&P 500 had a very good August with a positive trend in place.
Huh.
Contrarians this time.
Right. Now, these are the people that you came away very impressed with. And also gave them a couple of pointers that they may not have thought about properly themselves.
Well, I wouldn't go that far. But, I mean, everybody who listens to these guys is impressed. And usually one or the other of the brothers appears at the NFDA conferences. And like Tom Bunbone said, that in and of itself is worth probably the price of admission. You can get out to their website at itreconomics.com. And they've got quite a bit of information out there, including links to a few videos. But I was interested when I saw that tweet go by, and they're fairly regular posters out there.
Unlike me.
I wasn't going to say it, man.
I know. It's the 800-pound gorilla in the corner silence, okay? what does Brian Musker do all day if he doesn't use his tweeting, okay?
Well, there's plenty of economic news out there, and a lot of it is flying around on Twitter. But, personally, I'm waiting for the apple cart to be upset in a really big way because of the issue of our runaway fiscal irresponsibility. And I think this is about to reappear. And it's not going to be pretty, Bri. It looks like QA3 is happening, and the shock waves have started.
Right. As if QE2 actually did any good in the first place, okay? Or in the second place, wasn't it?
Well, I'm not a macro economist, so I don't know. But, the indicators are that the markets are very nervous about this. Moody's is threatening to downgrade the credit rating of the United States once again, and none of that is very good. People have been in predicting inflation, and I don't want to be a bad news bear here, but man, this stuff has got me really, really thinking. All just in time for the three-ring circus of the home stretch of the election, too.
Right, but you can't imagine that any of this is going to make it into the elections because, God forbid they actually deal with a real issue rather than trying to paper over it, the problems.
Well, if we come up against the debt limit, I don't know how they're going to avoid it. So, on the other hand, like I said, I'm not a Washington insider, but I'm just seeing what I see.
Right, but they're very creative in making sure that the public don't actually have to worry about anything that's important. They've managed it very, very well so far. And, the problem of the debt of the US and its ability to pay it back using any means other than inflation seems to have escaped everyone. The general public are more interested in, are the teachers in Chicago going to be able to get their 16% pay rise rather than thinking about where is it and any other of this extra money going to come from.
Yeah, well, that's a whole nother ball of wax. There's no shortage of headlines out there, and we've got more Fastener-related headlines coming right up with Mike McNulty's Fastener News Report, Bri. And, of course, Mike is the editor of Fastener Technology International magazine, and in the current issue, there's a really great photo spread of the MWFA Fastener Expo and golf outing that took place back in June.
Yeah.
Did you see this?
Yeah, I did.
On page 148, there's a shot I hope you all take a look at. It's of our girls. We were fishing that day, Bri, but Sue Rice and the lovely and talented Lynn Dempsey were at the event in our stead, and there's a great picture of them on that page. And I really like the way that they've treated this in Fastener Technology, some of the nice big photos they have and so forth.
Yeah, I'd also like to, I know I've said this before, but I'd also like to say I'm really impressed with the way that Nancy Rich and Matt DeLauder and Rich Cavoto treated Sue and Lynn. Knowing that we were away, they went to make sure that everything was going right, so it's thanks to them for that.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, and look over here on page 149, speaking of lovely and talented, there's one of Jackie Ventura looking quite sharp.
All right.
I still like the magazines. I still like the pages. I know this is all online, but I don't know. I just like flipping through. And this golf outing coverage, you've got some big pictures here. I don't know. It's just really nice. Well, let's thank our sponsors before we get on to the news report, and they are Stelfast, Beacon Fasteners and Components, and the Fastener News Report is brought to us today by Volt Industrial Plastics.
Thanks to all of you.
And thanks to all of you for tuning in to Fully Threaded Radio, too, folks. We really do appreciate it. Here's Mike McNulty.
Thanks, Brian and Eric, and greetings to all the Fully Threaded Radio listeners out there. This is Mike McNulty from Fastener Technology International magazine, bringing you the Fastener News Report, which is sponsored by Volt Industrial Plastics, makers of the world's finest plastic fasteners. Last week's Labor Day holiday got me thinking about the value of work in contrast with the recent wave of labor stoppages in the USA and Europe. We have striking NFL football referees, striking Chicago public school teachers, and striking Lufthansa flight attendants. Oddly, all of these strikers have special uniform-style shirts. Striped ones for the football field, flashy red ones for the schoolyard picket lines, and conservative blue and yellow attire for the airplane cabins. Now, I've got a couple of Fastener Technology International polo shirts set aside for the Las Vegas Fastener Show, but I could really never entertain the idea of going on strike from staying focused on the fastener industry. So here's today's Fastener News Report. In our top story, we're going to get the results of the Fastener Distributor Index for August. In addition, we have some newsmaker headlines from Senko Brands, Field Fastener, SFS Intech, Bossard North America, Birmingham Fastener, Elgin Fastener Group, and Brighton Best International. We also have a back page report that mixes a small business association, a Tea Party politician, and a fastener coating and sorting company all into one story. We will get to all of that and the Fastener Distributor Index results right after this.
Volt Industrial Plastics is the source for all your high-quality plastic fastener needs, and customer service is their #1 priority. With almost 1 million fasteners in stock and same-day shipping on stock items, Volt Industrial Plastics carries inventory so you don't have to. Volt manufactures everything in-house from over 125 different materials, and they're proud to say 100% of their products are American-made. And of course, custom tooling and in-house bagging is available. Contact Volt online at www.voltplastics.com. Volt Industrial Plastics, makers of the world's finest plastic fasteners.
Mike McNulty. Mike McNulty. Focused, focused, focused.
Bouncing back from a poor showing in July, the Fastener Distributor Index, also known as FDI, took a stabilizing turn upwards in August. FDI data is collected and analyzed by BB&T Capital Markets and the FCH Sourcing Network, and it seeks to identify demand, pricing, and outlook trends within the American fastener industry. To get the story on what is driving this rebound in fastener distribution, we talked to Holden Lewis of BB&T Capital Markets, who is joining us from the IMTS show in Chicago. Hi, Holden. Thanks for joining us on the Fastener News Report.
Well, thank you again for having me. Yes, and I'll apologize to listeners ahead of time if there's any interference in the back. I am here at the IMTS show in Chicago, and I'm out on a loading dock as we speak with a distant road. So hopefully this will come through well despite that.
Well, the communication technology lets us do lots of things now.
That's
so, Holden,
true.
I have to admit I was pleasantly surprised that the FDI jumped back above the 50-point level last month. What can you tell us about the FDI results for August?
Well, I would say don't forget that the FDI is one tool in our quiver to try to assess what's kind of going on in the world. And I think if you take the FDI result, which basically the fact that it bounced back from 46 to 51 just tells us that conditions did not get worse in August than what they saw in July, or than what the respondents saw in July. So it doesn't suggest that there hasn't been some sort of step down in activity levels. It just tells us that at this point, whatever step down we saw is not having a sort of cascading effect. We're not getting worse and worse. And certainly that should be viewed as a comforting thought. But what I would say is it's really, I think, in league with the general sentiment that we're feeling out there, whether it be here at the IMTS show, whether it be by looking at the national PMI data, talking to the companies that I speak to. Earlier in the year, I think that there was, very early in the year, things were strong. Around mid-year, there was a general sentiment or concern as things in Europe were perhaps getting out of hand and China was slowing. And then, in the last couple of months, I would say that the companies I speak to, the investors that I interact with, there's been a general sense that although things certainly aren't improving, at the same time, they don't really feel like they're getting worse. And if you take a 3-month average of how the national PMI looked, if you take a 3-month average of how the FDI looked, what you get is a slightly below 50 figure, which kind of tells you that we're in balance right now, that month-to-month business conditions are looking somewhat similar to what we've been seeing in very recent times. And so, again, I think what it reinforces is the idea that there's this slow growth or this stable slow growth that's out there. And I think that's the consensus that we're kind of seeing in the FDI and other measures that we track.
Now, you're mentioning the PMI, and remind listeners that's the Purchase Managers Index.
That's correct, and that is what the FDI is basically a very industry targeted, in this case the fastener distributor industry, but the FDI is a very industry targeted sort of cousin to the national PMI, which covers a much wider range of manufacturing. So it's not entirely surprising that we're getting somewhat similar readings from those metrics. And again, I think it reflects the fact that fastener distributors are going to be a reasonably good proxy for, as a group, for the general manufacturing economy. And that's kind of how we interpret those two.
So do you think it's safe to say that, like right now, manufacturing and distribution are mirroring each other?
I would say that. And, remember that they're both North American indices. One thing that I should point out is what the FDI is telling us, or what the PMI is telling us, is that business conditions really haven't changed in the last month or two. What has been good is still good, and fortunately for us, that's the North American market is still the strongest market out there. And what has been a challenge remains a challenge. I haven't seen that business conditions in Europe have gotten any better. The Chinese economy, although there's plenty of news right now about them trying to re-stimulate, and certainly I hope that they're successful with it. But as it states right now, what the index is telling us is that the sentiment around the markets has stabilized around this slow growth environment. But make no bones about it. The business conditions are not getting better; they've just stabilized in this slow growth type of environment.
So it sounds to me like we're almost at a position where we're like on a seesaw and it's reaching a stabilizing point, like a leveling point. There's no.
Yeah, certainly when you're close to zero, right? The one of two things can happen: either you can go above it or below it. But again, I think that the good news in the FDI is that we had several months where we were getting worse and worse, where the sentiment around the space was weaker and weaker. And the worst case scenario is that you see that continue to happen, that a 56 becomes a 51, becomes a 46, becomes a 41, becomes a 36. That's what you don't want to see happen. The fact that the FDI was sort of coming lower and has stabilized in this at around this 50 level, you could argue that, we don't know what's going to come next, which is true, but what we do know is at this point, business conditions seem to have stabilized. And when they were weakening and then stabilized, I think that that's a good reading. I think that that's a good thing. It's no guarantee about the future, but what it tells you is that business conditions are relatively stable right now. And as that has happened after a series of step downs, I think that is should be taken as a good month, kind of as you introduced it when we jumped on this show.
Yeah, it's good. Kind of like, you were describing the deterioration, like the wheels coming off the bus. So the good news here is the wheels stayed on the bus and the bus is still on the road, but we don't know what's coming ahead.
Just slow down. It's driving slower, that's all.
Right. Now, in this survey, you also asked people to elaborate or talk about the price and cost dynamic in fastener distribution. What did you find out, if anything?
That's right. So we have asked about the pricing dynamic month to month in our survey. However, we've never, obviously there's two pieces. There's two pieces to that. There's not only the price that you pay, the price that you're charging, but there's also the price that you pay. And so we wanted to ask about that price cost dynamic. And, I would say that again, we got a mostly stable reading. There were some folks that are seeing a weaker environment. There's folks that are seeing a stronger environment. When you put it all together and mash it all together, and what really kind of spits out is that the price and cost dynamic is largely in balance at this point, which, the message there is that margins should be stable. Obviously, specific companies will have their specific experiences, but as an industry, it seems like the margin pressures right now are very well balanced between price and cost. And so, again, looking at how your guys should be operating, how the distributor should be operating, this should be an environment where they're getting a little bit of growth, not a tremendous amount. The price, cost, and the margin dynamics should be relatively in sync. This is the type of environment, depending on one's level of confidence, that, they should be really working on maximizing cash flow, because they're not going to be running to stay in place with ever rising working capital in a strong growth environment. So working on maximizing, optimizing, and focusing on cash flow, working on means of gaining market share. And we've talked in past surveys about how market share now is not just about opening a new store, adding a new person, though those certainly have a role. There's also these higher services, whether they be the vending machines, the bin stocking, those sorts of things. But, what we have is an environment which is okay, one which is not, should not be forcing anybody sort of out of their comfort zone in terms of capital allocation. And I think that provides an opportunity to really do some strategic planning, not having to react to a panic situation, not having to keep up to a rapid growth situation. It's an environment that I think is conducive to optimizing cash and focusing on strategic imperatives within the organization.
Well, that's good advice, finishing up the third quarter of the calendar year and going into the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I mean, this is certainly, I think, budgeting decisions start to get made. People are going to start looking at sort of their forecasts and things like that. And if business conditions stay like they are right now, I think it's one of those not too hot, not too cold environments where this is where some creative thinking can really pay off. And I think that's true for all companies. But we had a lot of meetings yesterday with some distributors here at IMTS, and I can tell you that the big distributors are continuing to move at speed into a lot of these services, really focusing on having availability and how to gain market share. And there's just going to be increasing pressure from the larger distributors on the smaller ones. And that's why you take an environment like this where you're not reacting. It really, I think, allows you to sort of think about the competitive dynamics that are out there and how one is going to address them. I think it's a good environment for that.
Good. Any other news or themes or trends that you're seeing out there in Chicago at the IMTS show?
Well, it's certainly a robust IMTS show. I think in the literature they talk about something in the neighborhood of 1,800 different companies in attendance at the McCormick Center. I think that's up by 300 or so from last year. So just looking at attendance and sort of reading the enthusiasm of the crowd, again, I think that the industrial manufacturing sector is still very much alive and well. There are some interesting technologies that I'm particularly taking a look at, things like 3D printing and things like that are gaining perhaps some more prominence here. But I think that what I can really give you, other than the fact that people seem comfortable in their skins around here, is there's a fairly optimistic vibe amongst the crowds, and those crowds have only gotten larger. So I think that that's a sign of generally a sign of health.
Yeah, that's good to hear, and it's good to know that behind the scenes that manufacturing technology is alive and well in this country, even though a lot of people outside of it think that it disappeared a few years ago.
A couple things that people don't appreciate about manufacturing. I think your listeners would probably nod at this. People don't appreciate, how much of it there actually is, and people don't appreciate how sophisticated it is. When you walk around pavilions here and you're looking at CAD/CAM software and sort of controller systems and how the products plug into that, one of the little known success stories about the manufacturing world is it drives productivity, and it's been as prominent in driving productivity and adapting to and adopting technology as any other sector out there, and that certainly comes across in a show like this.
Okay, well, thanks, Holden, for joining us, as always, and sharing your insights on Fastener distribution, and we wish you a success at the rest of your time there in Chicago at the show.
Well, I appreciate that, and I appreciate this as always, and I'll speak to you next month.
Very good. Holden's latest column on FDI can be found in the upcoming October issue of Fastener Technology International magazine, which comes out at the end of this month, and also features a preview on the Las Vegas Fastener Show, which will be the biggest one since 2007. That was Holden Lewis of BB&T Capital Markets. Next up, today's top Fastener Newsmaker headlines. Senko Brands, a manufacturer of pneumatic tools and fasteners based in Cincinnati, Ohio, has acquired Expandet AS, a manufacturer and marketer of premium quality fasteners located in Denmark. The purchase price was not disclosed. Field Fastener, a global fastener distributor, was once again named by Inc. magazine as one of America's fastest-growing private companies, earning its spot on the list for the second consecutive year. With 31% growth in revenue over a 3-year span, Field Fastener was ranked number 156 for the manufacturing industry sector. SFS Inctech, a Swiss supplier of precision form components, engineered fasteners, and mechanical fastening systems, is acquiring Unisteel Technology International Limited, a fastener and component maker based in Singapore. Unisteel has manufacturing facilities located in China and Malaysia. At the end of August, Bossard North America celebrated the opening of its $1.5 million facility expansion in Greenville, Tennessee, which is now the company's second-largest USA hub. Based in Switzerland, Bossard supplies 25,000 different types of fasteners. Birmingham Fastener Incorporated will expand its operations at Pratt City, Alabama, following a $2 million capital investment. The company's purchase of new equipment will allow this nuts and bolts manufacturer to add 5 to 15 jobs this year. And our top newsmaker headline is that Elgin Fastener Group and Brighton Best International have formed a domestic alliance in which Elgin will be making standard fasteners in large volumes, all utilizing the headmark EFG USA. Parts being made will include grade 5 and grade 8 cap screws, A325 and A490 structural bolts, and Brighton Best's exclusive L9 high-strength fastening system. Marty Gorey, Sales VP for Elgin Fastener Group, had this to say about the deal.
We're very excited about EFG's continued expansion in the North American marketplace. The news this week released by Brighton Best is just another example of our continued growth in the sector, in the North American manufacturing sector. Our entire organization is extremely excited about partnering up with one of the world's globally recognized names in wholesale fastener distribution, and we're very focused on delivering best-in-class products and services to meet the needs of Brighton Best customers. As a U.S.-based manufacturer of fasteners for well over 70 years, we're very excited about the ability to continue to support American jobs and American people here in the United States, and continue to support Brighton Best and their customers going forward.
That was Marty Gorey of Elgin Fastener Group. Finally, let's turn to the back page for a report on a small business association, a Tea Party politician, and a fastener coating and sorting company. Rick DeLauder of SWD Incorporated Fastener Sorting Corporation in Addison, Illinois, sent me a video which was filmed at SWD in which the National Federation of Independent Business Association, also known as NFIB, endorsed Joe Walsh, a local congressman running for re-election to the U.S. House of Representatives. Now, this is not the Life's Been Good to Me guitar-playing singer-songwriter Joe Walsh that many of us enjoyed listening to in the 1970s and 80s, but he is a guy that calls himself a lifelong advocate for limited government and a vibrant private sector, and he is recognized as a Tea Party politician. Now, I don't know much about Representative Joe Walsh, but I liked what he said in the video, and I was pleased to see him talking positively about SWD, a fastener industry company that clearly wears the small, family-run business label. Walsh says that small firms like SWD have targets on their backs in the form of government taxes and regulations that make it difficult for them to succeed. At the end of the speech, he made a pledge to SWD, which is the same one he made when he was first elected to Congress in 2010. Says Walsh, "I am going to Washington to try to make life easier for you. I want you to be more profitable. I want you to be able to grow. I want you to be able to hire people. To do that, I'm going to take this thing called Washington and get it out of your way so you can do your thing." Walsh and the NFIB understand that America's #1 job creators are small businesses in the private sector. In order for them to have a chance to succeed and grow, the government must recede and shrink from its current position and size. SWD is a recognized leader in the metal finishing and fastener sorting fields, and the NFIB is the leading small business association representing small and independent businesses in the United States. SWD can be found online at swdinc.com, and nfib.com is where you can learn more about the National Federation of Independent Business. This has been Mike McNulty of Fastener Technology International bringing you the Fastener News Report. Remember to send your news, pictures, comments, corrections, or complaints to me at mcnulty@fastenertech.com.
There's a lone rider in the fastener industry, and he's with us next. John Wachman joins us on Fully Threaded. Stay with us.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 2012 Beacon Fasteners have arrived to redefine the notion of superior engineering. See one and behold the ultimate synthesis of form and function, style and substance. Hear one as the head turns with inexorable force. Touch one and feel the fire-forged steel standing in stark contrast to the sleek and graceful lines of the body. But to drive one, to drive a 2012 Beacon Fastener is to experience a harmony of power and performance that surpasses all expectations. At any speed, at any torque, each 2012 Beacon Fastener model offers a level of handling unparalleled in its class. A feat made possible by the knowledge acquired through rigorous and systematic test driving, conducted at our own industry-renowned proving grounds, nestled in the heartland of America. And with the 2012 model year, we proudly introduce the newest high-performance addition to our lineup, the Machine Screw Series. Call toll-free at 800-669-2658 for your own private consultation with a Beacon representative and learn a whole new definition of performance. The 2012 Beacon Fasteners have arrived. Drive one today.
For a selection of hundreds of thousands of fasteners, check out your local Fastenal store or Fastenal.com. We can stock domestic or internationally sourced product locally and keep your bin stock filled for you at no additional expense. We are a 9001-2008 certified company that's made a huge investment in quality control so you don't have to. And if you can't find it on our shelf, we can make it for you at the quantity you need at one of our many manufacturing facilities. Learn more by contacting your local Fastenal store or visiting Fastenal.com today.
You know your screws and your brews. That's why now there's a beer brew just for the fastener industry. That's right. You drove all day to make that call. The beer you'll pour, it must be tall. Yeah. Old rusty bowl. Yeah. You sold those screws and bolts and nuts, and now it's time to fill your guts. That's clear. Old rusty bolt. Yeah. Forget about cold filtered. Old Rusty's cold-headed. For fastener people just like you. It's the beer that could have made Rockford, Illinois famous until we had to start importing some of the pure 100% natural ingredients that go into every batch. It's got that full threaded flavor, but with a third less oxides, so you can keep enjoying Old Rusty long after the warehouse or show floors close down for the day. That's also why Old Rusty's available in quarter kegs and now in convenient pallets too. Keep it flowing, house. Old Rusty Bowl.
This is Dave Hunt from Mid-State Specialty Sales in Moline, Illinois. We're nuts and bolts about you. You're listening to Fully Threaded Radio.
Well, that was another fine episode of the Fastener News Report, Bri, with Mike McNulty. Mike's the editor of Fastener Technology International magazine. And if you take a look at page 70 of the August-September issue, you'll see a story entitled Got Fastener Training? Confessions of a Wannabe Fastener Nerd. Now, before your eyes glaze over, those of you who aren't looking for fastener training options at the moment, folks, this story is so well written, and it makes so many excellent points in the cause of fastener training that you'd better get out there and take a look at this thing. That's what I'm saying. And since that's probably not persuasive enough, when you hear that the story was written by the one and only John Wachman of Scottsdale, Arizona-based Desert Distribution, that ought to grab your attention. John Wachman joins us now. Welcome to Fully Threaded.
Glad to be here.
Place is ours.
Yeah, it's great to have you with us, John. We've had you on the show before. I think it was just once briefly at the Vegas show. It was one of these man-on-the-floor interviews, but it's high time we had you here for a proper conversation.
Yeah, I guess it was almost a year ago, and I guess Vegas is coming around again, and we're still, my day job is selling fasteners, but we're still promoting fastener training because it's something that there's a big need for, and we're trying to do more and more every year.
Well, by all accounts, you guys are doing a great job, and we definitely want to let you tee off on that. But before we get too far into your FTI piece, please tell us a little bit about Desert Distribution, and then possibly also how you segued into your role as director of the Fastener Training Institute.
Okay. Desert Distribution Sales we have a manufacturer's rep agency here based in Scottsdale, Arizona, and we call on fastener distributors and their OEMs, promoting our products throughout the Southwest. We do a lot of business with AVK Industrial Products, which was one of our first lines when we started in 2001, and we were fortunate enough to pick up our friends at Stelfast when they opened their LA warehouse, and the industry has been with us just about from the beginning, and they provide locking and sealing elements for threaded fasteners. The Sard Metrics is another one of our lines, and I got to make sure I'm not going to forget my friends at the Socket Source.
How could you?
Sockets. Yeah, how could our friends forget all the stories? But no, we have been very fortunate that the business we started in 2001 has grown, and actually, guys, I've just added Beth Van Zant, who had worked for Duncan Bolt and Timberline. She just joined us the 1st of September. So our business is growing. Business is good in our market, and we're continuing to have good success.
Well, I like the sound of that. How long you been out in Arizona, John?
Oh, my wife and I moved out here in 1989, and it was a great move for us. We had lived in LA for about 5 years. Everybody should do that once.
Leave LA or live there?
Live there. I still go there on there just about every other week, and I enjoy doing some good business there. But we live on the very edge of Scottsdale, Arizona, on the end of a dirt road with 5 horses, 4 dogs, and 2 cats. So it's kind of living the good life.
Wow. Yeah, I went to Scottsdale once, I remember, and it was the thing I remember was the airport. I got completely lost at the airport trying to find how to get from one place to another.
Yeah, it's it's like anybody else's airport. We're all familiar with our own, but if I go to yours, I'm not going to have a very good time.
This is actually completely true, but I remember it, and it was also really very hot and sort of humid at the time. It was, I guess, one of the first times I'd landed in the US in Phoenix.
Wait, you're saying it wasn't a dry heat?
Wasn't a dry heat. No, I don't remember it being dry.
Well, we have what we call the monsoons, and it usually from middle of July until the middle of September we get the moisture up from Mexico. We get some nice monsoon rains, but the rest of the year it's quite dry and quite pleasant.
Well, you don't have any problems with airports if you're riding horses all the time. Have you always been a horseman?
No, as a matter of fact, it's a weird story. We just took up the horses, both my wife and I, when we moved here, and actually my wife's first horse She bought her 21 years ago. She was 8 years old, and she's 29 years old, and she still hangs out in the front yard. We don't ride her very much, but she makes a nice piece of yard art.
That's awesome.
Yard art, okay. Living yard art. Okay.
So you guys must be as rich as the Romneys, because Mrs. Romney had a horse, I guess, and she's just loaded.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we take a lot of heat for that, but actually, a lot of horse folks are just kind of normal folks that kind of got hooked on an avocation or a pastime that just kind of takes hold. Normally, it's just one of a family usually, and usually it's there are more women doing equestrian events than men. And for me, I can get up in the morning and play golf with a bunch of gray-haired guys, or I can go ride horses with a bunch of young women. So it's kind of easy to make the choice some days.
Yeah.
This is intensely interesting. Let's talk about this further in Vegas.
Okay, good.
For those of you who are wondering about this guy walking around the Vegas show, or at least I guess the party the night before, the gentleman with the very, very distinguished-looking cowboy hat, that's going to be John Wachman.
Yeah, Vicki Lester kind of kids me from the Pac West Fastener Association. I just started wearing my hat because I wear it a lot here, and Vegas is Nevada is part of the West, so I started wearing it, I guess, when they had the first Vegas show, and it kind of became a brand. And actually, the other thing is, we were talking a little bit before we started about computers. Somehow, one of my pictures of me wearing a cowboy hat got attached to all of my emails when we first started the business. So me and the hat kind of became a brand, and a lot of folks in Vegas will come over to me and say, "Well, where'd you get the hat?" I said, "Well, I got it in my closet right next to the boots," and we enjoy it.
Now, do you smoke Marlboros?
I used to. Unfortunately, it was a habit that I had for many years, but have a long time ago given up. But actually, that's a good question. A gentleman that I used to ride with was one of the Marlboro men.
No.
Yes, and he really was a horseman, and he really was as tough as nails as that picture portrayed him to be.
Is that right? No, he must have smoked the Reds, right?
Oh yeah, that's what everybody did. Yeah.
Yeah.
But those are in the days that we didn't know better.
Have you seen all the different color Marlboro? I don't smoke, but have you seen all the different color Marlboros now? It used to be basically the red and then the yellow lights, and now they've got everything. They've got mauve, chartreuse. What is all that?
Really? I absolutely have no idea.
Used to be a gold packet. That was the lights, wasn't it? I remember. Yep. Okay. Yeah, we all remember those.
And well, you're lucky. It's $7 a pack now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's incredible. I remember when I was a young man, a gallon of gas was 25 cents, and a pack of cigarettes was 25 cents. So on a Friday night, I could get a pack of cigarettes and 3 gallons of gas, and I was good to go.
Yes, and I bet you ate a lot of Pepperidge Farm cookies. Well, let's wind this up and tell us, how did you parlay all of the Fastener insights that you've developed over the years into the directorship at the Fastener Training Institute? How did that segue occur?
Well, the folks at what originally was the LA Fastener Association, which a couple of years ago merged with Western Fastener Association and is now called Pac West, they started a training program for what was originally just new employees, because they felt that no one of the companies had the resources to do a good training program. So the LAFA kind of took it upon themselves to start what originally was kind of basic fastener training, and over the years it's grown, and I got on the board of what was the LAFA, I think 7 years ago, and Vicki Lester had convinced me that it really wasn't going to take too much of my time.
Oh, she's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I let her lie to me. You know, she's not the first pretty girl who lied to me. And so I joined. I got on the board, and there were two things that I was interested in. One was membership, and the other one was the training programs. And my original commitment was for 3 years, and then because Western Fastener Association and the LAFE combined, I agreed to stay on in 1 more year, and then I re-upped for another 3 years. So along the way, I started spending a lot of time working on the fastener training, and I guess maybe 4 years ago we actually spun the program off and trademarked the Fastener Training Institute, and we're starting to get a lot more serious about the training. We've got a lot more programs. I think in 2011 we did 18 individual programs and had almost over 375 students.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this year we're on pace to do about the same. And then next year we're really going to kick it into overdrive, and we're going to be offering over 25 programs. We also were fortunate enough to kind of join with the Industrial Fastener Institute, IFI, and we co-produce a number of different trainings, one of which is what we call CFS Week, which is Certified Fastener Specialist. And next year we're going to do actually 3 CFS weeks, one in Cleveland, one in LA, and then another one back in Cleveland. They have been very, very well attended. And that kind of leads to how I did that article, Confessions of a Wannabe Fastener Nerd.
Well, that was what I was going to lead up to here. So you want to be a fastener nerd. I mean, what is all that? I mean, weren't you a fastener nerd already? Or, I mean, expand on that.
Yeah.
Well, what it is that, you know, I had audited a few of the FTI courses. And this spring in LA, we had the first CFS Los Angeles the entire week. So I decided that I would kind of ignore my family and my horses and my customers and hang out for a week in LA and take the entire class. So, you know, it starts on Monday, ends on Friday, and I got a chance to spend most of the week with Carmen Vitullo, who does the whole week, and Joe Greenslade and Salim Brahimi. And, you know, the gist of the article is, you know, most folks do exciting things on their vacations. And I told my wife that I was going to go study fasteners in LA for a week, and, you know, to her it made sense. So, you know, we've been together, I guess, 29 years this December, and I'm a little bit different. And the reason why I'm a wannabe fastener nerd is, you know, there are really fastener nerds. I mean, you know, Salim and Pink Blendoff. I mean, there are guys who really know this. So I'm just a wannabe. I'm kind of like a fastener groupie. I try to hang out with these guys and learn as much as I can, as often as I can.
No, believe me, John. Our very existence relies on this fact. So please, you're feeding the flame here.
Right? Yeah. Keep going. Okay.
No, because, you know, actually, if you read that piece where I say one of my favorite parts was Salim's hydrogen embrittlement.
Right.
I mean,
right.
It is a great course, but, you know, some folks would think that it's dry, but if you've ever seen fasteners fail due to hydrogen embrittlement, it's actually quite exciting. And you know, part of the education program is that if we teach enough folks about it, they won't have the opportunity to be excited about fasteners with heads popping off due to hydrogen embrittlement.
Right. Yep. It's true. It's watching these things fail and testing is just so interesting. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember Eric spent months talking about hydrogen embrittlement after he came back one of his courses.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, why not? And elongation too. I mean,
okay.
These are amazing subjects, and it takes the right kind of audience. Let's face it. But obviously, you're a guy who is among that audience, and God love you for it. Let me ask you about something you said in your story here. You mentioned the fact that, or you point out the fact that a lot of domestic producers have reduced their staff from their operations, and this really shifts some of the burden of speccing out the right parts over to the distributors and OEMs. Can you expand on that a little bit?
Well, I can actually be quite specific. There used to be a domestic manufacturer called Umbraco, and they were the premier manufacturer of socketed cap screws.
Yeah.
I believe in the early 70s, they had 65 direct sales guys covering the United States, working with distributors and end users or OEMs about the proper way to use and specify parts.
When was that?
Let's say about 1970, they actually had a sales force of about 65 or 70 people. Basically, there are no more Umbraco salespeople. Actually, the Umbraco, I think it's a trade name now. They're no longer a domestic manufacturer. And if I'm misrepresenting that, I apologize. But I do not believe that Umbraco manufactures here in the States. But
we'll hear about it.
Yeah, we'll hear about it.
Part of SPS, I think, isn't it?
Yes, but I think they may have divested themselves of the Umbraco product line.
Okay.
But the gist is, as the domestic manufacturers have had to get leaner and leaner to try to compete with manufacturers offshore, they have continued to downsize. And part of the downsizing was the cutting of the support staff, the engineers and the product managers and project engineers, so that they don't exist anymore. So the burden of learning about the proper use and specifications of fasteners has pretty much been pushed down to the distributors and the consuming end users. So part of what FTI is trying to do is to kind of fill the void and offer good, competent information so that people can make good choices about the fasteners that they specify and the fasteners that they buy.
Well, how's that for non-stick cookware?
Right.
You sold me.
Well, I think, that the original kernel that the folks had at the LAFA many, many years ago has pretty much taken root, and we've been fortunate to partner with IFI in co-producing. Actually, we're actually talking with IFI about introducing a new program for 2013, which would be an aerospace fastener training program. So we're pretty excited about that. And actually, I got invited to the IFI aerospace meeting in Pennsylvania. I think it's in October, to kind of talk to them and work on how we might configure an aerospace training program.
Oh, that's cool.
Well, it makes a lot of sense to have different programs for the different areas of emphasis. Let me ask you this. The CFS, or the Certified Fastener Specialist designation, you see that on emails. People send emails and they've got that CFS after their name. That accreditation, is that exclusively from the FTI?
Yeah, well, the CFS program was, again, originally started by the Los Angeles Fastener Association, and originally it was only offered in one-day increments. And we still offer it in one-day programs where you can come to an LA program, and it would take people maybe 2 years or 3 years taking a class here or a class there to get their CFS designation. And then I believe it was 3 years ago when we did our first program actually it was done in Chicago, where we brought people in, and we started on a Monday morning and went through the whole program, which basically is the 1 week class is 2 days of classroom, 1 day, which is usually the Wednesday, of plant tours, where we actually take them to cold heading operations, heat treat operations, plating operations, and usually a testing facility. And they get a chance to pretty much see how fasteners are produced, secondary operations. And then we finish it up with 2 more days of classes on Thursday and Friday. And by the end of Friday, we've got a little test that they take, and then they get to use their CFS designation.
Or CFN if you want to be a nerd instead of a specialist.
That's right. Certified Fastener Nerd.
Right. And you wouldn't be running your training courses in Chicago now because you'd be on strike if you were trying that.
Oh, be careful there.
Yeah, I saw that today. But actually, we actually, for just logistics, we moved the Chicago program to Cleveland because we use the IFI facilities, which have worked out quite well for us.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Well, I'll tell you, as a Chicago boy, and lately I've been spending a lot of time in the Cleveland area, that place is a hotbed of fastener activity. I mean, you're driving down the road, and there's Hodel Natco, there's Cardinal Fasteners, there's the Stelfast warehouse. I mean, it's just so tightly concentrated there. I mean, that is a mecca of fastener
nerds.
Thank you.
And the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Which I visited also, and last month the Grateful Dead were featured.
Wow.
Yeah, actually, I'm going to have to go back to Cleveland because I haven't been to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and I do want to do that.
Well, it's well worth the $50.
Is that what they get now?
Well, I think for two, I paid $50.
All right. So it's only really 7 packs of cigarettes.
I mean, look at it this way: you can't even really get one quality horseshoe for that.
No, horseshoeing is expensive.
Tell me about it. So, speaking of singers and all that, you mentioned in your story in Fastener Technology International about a Fastener Rat Pack. So, if you had to line up the Rat Pack, who's in it?
Well, actually, I guess it started, with the three that do the CFS class, which is Carmen Vitullo and Salim Brahimi and Joe Greenslade. But I've got to add Benk Blendoff to that. I've known Benk, I think I refer to him as an old friend, and I changed that. He's a longtime friend. I first met Benk when he worked for Bolton Fasteners out of Sweden. So I'm sure there are other fine members that we could nominate to the Fastener Trainers Rat Pack, but those are the four that came into my mind when I was doing that article.
Got it.
Actually, I'm thinking of making it maybe I've gotten some good response to that. So, Confessions of a wannabe fastener nerd, maybe a recurring. Maybe we can bring that back once a year for an update.
I think that's a good idea. At the very least, you should tap the traveling salesman to help you give a little bit of legs to that. I think you'd be surprised where that might go. And also speaking of your interest in branching out into the aerospace, do you know Rebecca Day?
Yes, I do.
Well, I think she can get you into the right parties.
Yes. As a matter of fact, I do. We did the Fastener, the Aircraft Hardware Supply Association has their bash in Long Beach, and I was there this year, and so was Rebecca.
Yes.
They always throw a good party.
Yeah, if you see someone on roller skates, chances are she's one of them.
Yes.
Well, tell us, John, how can folks get a hold of you if they want to follow up with you, either for Desert Distribution or the Fastener Training Institute?
Okay, for Desert Distribution sales, it is john@desertdistribution.com, and for the Fastener Training Institute, it's actually fastenertraining.org.
And you're going to be out at the Vegas show, of course. Are you going to be working any booths in particular this year?
Well, yeah, we've got, obviously my principals will be there, but also Pac West Fastener Association has a booth, and the Fastener Training Institute has a booth, and actually we're in a row along with the Industrial Fastener Institute, IFI, and the NFDA. So we'll have, and actually, guys, I heard a rumor that there's going to be beer at the NFDA booth.
Hey, I don't know if you were listening to the show earlier. Actually, I know you weren't because it's all been pre-recorded, but we're going to be covering the strategic placement of kegs of beer on the floor. I think, we're helping the industry a little bit because we're pushing this cause forward, and you're right. There is going to be a little bit of beer out there.
And just remember what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. So we have to live by that mantra.
That was in the days before Fully Threaded Radio, John.
Yeah, and that was in the days before young Prince Harry violated the rules.
Yeah, that's right. But I think it's why he's spending a little time in Afghanistan at the moment, is to keep him away from the press.
Yeah, what happens? Do you get like an email saying that the Queen wants to talk to you?
No, it's Liz. Liz, okay.
Okay.
Liz is not happy.
Not happy at all. No.
Well, it's going to be really interesting to see how much traffic the Pat West booth has this year because, Vicky has wisely put the foot massager in the booth every year, and I'm telling you, that thing is a godsend. You go over there and you get a little bit of a foot rub. You sit on that nice, comfortable sofa after about 12 hours of standing on your feet, and, with a few beers in you, that's going to feel even better.
You betcha. And I talked to my good friend and neighbor, Mike McGuire, and he says that the show this year will be bigger and better.
That's what it's sounding like.
Yeah, last year I went over to the Pac West booth, but I thought that Rick from Metric and Multi-Standard must be working at the booth, but I realized he was just having frequent foot massages.
Mr. Cavoto.
Right.
Hey, how'd you get out of the booth?
Oh, no. Well, it must have been the one time I was allowed out at the end of the show.
All right.
No, it's a great show. I'll show up on Tuesday afternoon because I'll be working some of the and actually that's something I should mention, that we've got two programs at the Vegas show. Bengt Blendoff is doing a training, and also Carmen is doing a session. So the educational sessions are on Wednesday, and then we've got our bash on Wednesday night, and then the show all day Thursday and half day Friday. And usually what I do is I'll just drive home Saturday morning.
You mean on the horse?
No, actually, it's a long ride on horseback.
Well, John Wachman, you're a Fastener man, you're an equestrian, and you're also a gentleman and a scholar, and I sure do appreciate you joining us here on Fully Threaded Radio.
Hey, thanks, guys. I enjoyed the opportunity, and I'll keep you advised at the continuing saga of the wannabe Fastener nerd.
Right. So Eric should have said you're a gentleman and a nerd.
Never. Thanks a lot, John.
See ya.
See you later.
A man develops a powerful thirst listening to Fastener Talk Radio, and we'll see what we can do about that. Coming up next is Fully Threaded Radio. When top quality and outstanding service are at the top of your list in fastener suppliers, turn to Stellfast. Since 1976, Stellfast has grown to become an industry-leading importer and manufacturer of the highest quality industrial fasteners, specialty items, and automotive parts. Our array of facilities across North America and in Asia, along with full quality control labs and ISO 9001-2008 certifications, ensure the highest quality parts, and at Stellfast, they're delivered with undisputed service excellence. We're family-run and dedicated to your success. Our customers have come to depend on the expertise of our staff and the quality of our products. We also offer a wide range of secondary services to meet some of the toughest requirements you might have. Contact Stellfast today through our website at www.stellfast.com and put us to work for you. Stellfast. Service you deserve, people you trust.
Have you ever thought about what it's like to be a transformational leader? Hi, this is Sandy Cardillo, President of Conrad Associates. I'd like to welcome you to our conversation on women in leadership and evolving perspective during the Women in Fasteners Industry Gathering at the National Industrial Fastener and Supply Expo on Wednesday, October 10th from 2 to 4 p.m. in Las Vegas, Nevada. We will explore how women's approach to leadership has evolved into the present and thoughts on an emerging perspective for the 21st century work environment. Please join us for an interesting conversation and a great networking opportunity. For details, please visit www.fastenerwomen.com. I hope to see you there.
This is Sue Rice with the FCH team. It's my job to make sure that as an FCH member, you receive the highest possible benefit from your participation in the network. Did you know that once you're logged into FCH, you have access to exclusive search tools, site statistics, and tracking information about your inventory and source finder inquiries? It's all just a click away, and I'm happy to walk you through it. If it's time to refresh your inventory, don't worry. We'll run your listings through our scrubber software and get you up and running in a very short time. If you can attach a spreadsheet to an email, you can list inventory on FCH. We can also show you how to optimize your listings to attract the most hits for your type of fastener. Send email to sue@fastenersclearinghouse.com and let me help you get the most from the FCH sourcing network. I look forward to hearing from you soon.
Coming to you across the vast audio radiance of the internet, it's the voice of the FCH Sourcing Network. Fully Threaded Radio.
This is John Butler with K&L Sales, your source for fastening technologies. And you're listening to Fully Threaded Radio.
Brian and Eric, back with you on the online Fastener Clam Bake.
Think clams are really that connected to fasteners?
Well, they go well with beer.
Yeah, that is true, actually.
Hey, we should have asked John Wachman if he earned his certification during the Fastener Training Institute course. I don't think we ever did actually ask him about that.
Huh, you're right. We're too busy talking about riding horses.
You kind of implied that he did, but I don't know. We'll have to ask him at the show.
Yeah, so they probably, they have a special course nerd certification.
Well, they will now if they didn't before.
Right.
Well, it was good talking to him, and it'll be good to see him out in Vegas.
Yeah, that's right. Especially if he's going to bring me a beer, because for those 23 hours when I can't get out of the booth.
I don't think you're going to have any problem, Bri. And it's a good way to discuss our next subject here because, hey, folks, we promised to mention the 3 booths at the upcoming Vegas show where beer's going to be available. And these are the 3 that we've been authorized to announce. There's likely to be more out there, especially after this news comes out. So here are the booths you want to watch for, everybody. In the Buckeye Fasteners booth, which is 1043, as was just announced by Larry Kelly, and through a special licensing arrangement with Traveling Salesman, Old Rusty Bolt will be flowing. So that's number 1. Next, and we also heard from Jay Keenan, the president of the NFDA recently. He announced that suds will also be available on tap in their booth this year, and that's at 1803, the NFDA. So if you're looking for a good reason to join up with the most important national fastener organization out there, here you go, folks.
You mean this is just another one, okay?
Exactly.
Right. Let's not indicate we might be preoccupied with beer.
No, not at all. I'm sure you'll have plenty of opportunity to talk to all the guys over there. I'm sure the whole board will be there, probably even more so than usual. And finally, and this is especially for those of you out there who are perhaps looking to upgrade from FastPack, stop by the InSequel software booth to say hi to Bob Reynolds and his crew. They're in booth 609. I'm not sure what the timing is on that one, but I'm guessing it'll be Thursday afternoon over there. And do not forget that Don Solution Man Shan was on the show recently, and he announced that they'll be handing out some very nice beer glasses at the Solution Industries booth, which is 932 this year.
Yeah, I think this might not be the first time that InSequel's had beer, is it? I think I've seen them with a keg there in the past.
Yeah, Bob was kind of a trendsetter here. He's been doing this for quite a while. But, imitation is the sincerest form and all that. So,
right.
Now, getting back to those Solution Industries beer glasses, I'm sure supplies will be limited, so make sure you get over there early in the day. That would be my suggestion. I really don't know how many he'll bring along. And while we're at it, discussing booze and where everybody's going to be, FastenersClearinghouse.com and the FCH Sourcing Network will be set up in fabulous booth 1715 this year. Haven't checked who our neighbors are yet, have you?
No, but it seems like it's something we might need to get onto.
I'm not thinking about it. Every year we go out there, we make new friends with our neighbors, and that's all part of the fun of the show. And once again this year, we'll have the Jumbo Fastenertron big screen set up, and the lovely and talented Lynn Dempsey will be there with us.
Yes, that's right, yeah.
And I can't wait to see what kind of tie you come up for this year's event, Bri.
Right, yeah, I'm going to have to do a little work on that one. Actually, we usually have more than just us in the booth. It's usually some giant bloody pillar in the booth too, isn't it? That was that last year? No, a year before. That's right.
Every year it's a surprise. You never quite know what's going to happen, but that's all the fun.
Yeah, it's when you turn up with all the wires and cables and things in your little suitcase and look around and say, "Oh God, is this it?" And then a day later, it looks like it was always been there.
Well, we hope to see you all out there, folks. And why don't we take a minute now to thank our guests on today's show, most of who I guess we'll be seeing out there.
Hopefully, yeah.
From Desert Distribution and the Fastener Training Institute, John Wachman joined us today. Also, Larry Kelly of Buckeye Fasteners. Holden Lewis from BB&T Capital Markets gave us the rundown on this month's FDI. And, of course, Mike McNulty with Fastener Technology International, as usual, did a great job with the Fastener News Report. Thanks so much, Mike. The title sponsors on today's episode of Fully Threaded Radio were Stelfast. For service you deserve and people you trust, it's Stelfast. And Beacon Fasteners and Components. Their line of machine screws is taking the industry by storm. Beacon Fasteners, nice threads. Hey, we also had Volt Industrial Plastics, Fastenal, and Fastener Technology International magazine supporting us today, and we appreciate it, one and all.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks also to each and every one of you folks for tuning in and for sharing the podcast with your friends. It's pretty obvious that this is happening because the numbers, especially in the last several episodes, are really starting to go up. Don't stop. We really do enjoy seeing those numbers go up. And tell us how we're doing. Send us email anytime at the address ftr@fullythreaded.com. Get with us on Twitter under the handle fullythreaded. And as usual, we'll have some supporting links for the show posted out there on the Fully Threaded Radio Facebook page. So if you want a little more mayhem in your life, get out there and check all that out.
Yeah, and don't forget to put the show on your mobile device, be it an iPad or Android or BlackBerry, okay? They all have apps where you can sit there and listen to the show while you're driving along in the car, or in the bus or train or whatever you're doing, okay? Makes it easy and turns it into a joy.
Well, it's a joy under any conditions.
Even more joyful, okay?
Well, that's good advice, Bri. And why don't we close out today? There was a big announcement about the new iPhone, and we're kind of iPhone-ophiles here on Fully Threaded, and my guess is you know quite a bit about that, Bri. Why don't you let us know what you've heard so far about the new iPhone 5?
Right. Well, of course, as you know, the iPhone 5 was announced yesterday to a great big Fandango show in San Francisco. And it's been met by wild excitement and big yawns, okay? But the whole phone can be analyzed into two main things. It's a bigger screen, it has a faster processor, and it has a new operating system. Oh, that's three. That's Mr. Obama's counting.
Good one.
Right. But the screen basically has been altered in size slightly to bring it into the aspect ratio of HDTV, 16:9, and mainly it's in the operating system. There's iOS 6 has really got a gazillion new things in it, and and Siri comes out fully into it. So all us other people using older phones will also have iOS 6. We'll be able to download that too. But the reality is, I've heard all these complaints about why they didn't, change the phone more, but they've got a winning strategy. They've got the most popular phone in the world. Why would they screw with it?
Did you see any pricing information about the new phone?
Yeah, it's the same price as the old one. What's happened is that the new phone in its lowest config, which is what I have, and you have, is $199 on a 2-year contract. The 4S, which is what I have, goes to $99, and the iPhone 4 is free.
Wow.
Right. So, it's when you're the biggest company in the world, you can do things like this.
Capitalism at work.
Yeah, I know. Isn't it horrible to see? It really annoys me every time I use my phone. But they didn't do that. Someone must have given Steve Jobs a real hand, okay? The government led him right through this.
Well, my guess is that we'll be getting our new iPhone 5s sometime in the next year or so. I'm not going to jump right in, but this whole subject reminds me of a couple of stories that I saw recently in the news. And the first one was from a week or so back, and it had to do with the whole Occupy movement as it was at the Democrat National Convention. So this guy, Jason Matera, he loves to go out and haze these guys. And there was a great story. I think I saw it first on hotair.com. And so he occupied the occupiers, and he was circulating a petition among them to end capitalism, basically. And he had the petition on an iPad, which was a riot. And of course, captains of irony, it just didn't come into play.
Right.
But it was just so much fun. We'll put this on the Facebook page. And then at one point, to add icing on the cake, he even pointed out to one of the occupiers that it was so cool that he could tweet the information back and forth between his iPad and his iPhone.
Yeah, it's amazing that they don't see the irony in all this. I hate capitalism as long as I can keep my iPhone.
Oh, the deliciousness. And the second story, this one came out of the WashingtonTimes.com website back on September 9th, and I'm sure a lot of people saw this one, but the headline was, Tech Challenge, Obama has trouble with iPhone. So the story starts out, on the campaign trail, Obama is constantly talking about the importance of technology, but he met his match with an iPhone Sunday. The president had stopped at a campaign office in Florida to thank volunteers. Then, for the cameras, Mr. Obama was supposed to call 2 campaign workers who were out working on his behalf. But when White House trip director Marvin Nicholson handed the president his personal iPhone, Mr. Obama couldn't get it to work. A reporter who witnessed the scene said the president looked, quote, befuddled.
Is this the first time, do you think?
Quote, it's not clear he knows how to dial an iPhone, the reporter wrote in a pool report. Finally, Mr. Obama said, quote, oh, I got to dial it in. Hold on. I can do this. See, I still have a BlackBerry.
Right. Good.
Oh, I can just hear him. Unfortunately.
Yeah. We wish we couldn't.
The pity is that kind of blows my idea for the new pitch line for Apple that I had based on that earlier Occupy story.
Oh, yeah? What was that going to be?
The iPhone. So simple, even a communist can use it. But I guess not.
Oh, God, you had to do that, didn't you? Couldn't resist.
And with that, we'll wrap up another episode of Fully Threaded Radio, folks.
We'll catch you next time.
For Brian Musker, this is Eric Dudas. Thanks for listening, everybody, and we'll talk to you next time.
Fully Threaded Radio is a production of Fastener's Clearinghouse. Music provided by Audionautics.
The one thing I am at these meetings for North Coast are like pragmatic and just honest.
You're dishonest? You just said you're dishonest.
Pretty much so, yeah.